go. Right, so good evening everyone and welcome to module number 7 of our weekly personal growth course. I'm thrilled and blessed to have you with us today. Thank you for being here. So I think last week we ended up I ended up by saying that, I'd love to hear those of you who have started to put the practices into place. What you've been doing, how's it been working? Have you noticed any shifts or changes, any challenges? So I'm going to immediately throw the floor open and ask you to just, volunteer where you are with all this at the moment to see how we're all doing. Who'd like to start? Kelly.
Hi everyone. So yeah, I wanted to share this week because I feel like I've had quite a, I don't know, just a very positive week thanks to some of the things that I've learned on these calls. So I changed a few things up. I've had my definite purpose statement now since probably for the last 2 years, and I've tweaked it and changed it, but I've always had it in my office, which is where I'm sat now. And after our call last week, Bridget, you mentioned about best times, the first thing in the morning and last thing at night, because it's really about your subconscious, etc. So I've actually stuck my new DPS on the wall next to my bed. It's the first thing I see when I open my eyes and the last thing I see at night. And I can't tell you how much more belief I have in it now that I'm saying it at those times. I think sometimes when I used to come into my office, I'd just say it because I felt like I had to. Whereas now it feels so much more authentic. And my partner sees it every morning and every night, and he started saying his out loud as well. And, it's just made such a massive impact. And then next to that, I have a piece of paper stuck on that asks what my intention of the day is, so that the first thing I do in the morning is speak out loud what my intention is for that day. And then I've also got another piece of paper stuck on the wall next to that says to review and then rewrite my day, which I know we spoke about last week. I have to say I've only felt that I've needed to do that twice. I don't know whether that's right or wrong, but I've been quite content with certain things. There's just been a couple of things where I've closed my eyes and, I did what we did last week, and it's really powerful. So yeah, I wanted to share and say thank you, because I think, yeah, they've just really impacted me in a positive way.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Well, you know what, isn't it funny that, we all kind of have a bit of a notion of generally what works, but when we make those little adjustments, they seem to make huge differences, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel the same. The fact that in my second line of the definite purpose statement, I write, it is the date, and then my name, I even put my full name, which is Bridget-Jane, if you don't mind, such a mouthful, and I never use it, but I put it, my name is Bridget Jane Long, and I was just like, wow. And it's sometimes like saying our own name out loud can be like really uncomfortable, but actually when you get used to doing it a couple of days, I found it so empowering and anchoring before I went into my statement. And it's a tiny detail, isn't it? Like you said about changing from your office to your bed. But you can already feel, the intensity and the realness of it growing.
Yeah.
So amazing. And you've done the revision as well. That's that's so much fun. My biggest challenge is actually I was saying to Tasmin earlier, having that really disciplined nightly routine.
The plug over there in that corner.
Look a little bit. Oh, no. But what I found is, like, sometimes I think, okay, well, that meeting went really, really well. And I thought, but what if it went even better? What would the outcome be, right? And then, of course, the imagination just goes wild, you know, and you're just like, woohoo, we can just like literally go wherever we like with this. So even if something is really satisfying to you, have fun when you're doing your revision. Just say, you know, what if it was like the ultimate outcome, right? And that will enable all of us to really, you know, grow our expectation of the conversation or the meeting or the conference, or, you know, even a conversation with a child, you know, it doesn't matter, does it? Or your spouse or partner, whatever. So always, you know, as much as we can, revise the day and make it, you know, even if it's something bigger than we could possibly even begin to imagine, start growing your imagination. And you know, there are no limits, right? You know, we can imagine anything. I mean, I said last week about how easy it is to imagine stuff. And a lot of people say, oh, I can't visualize or anything. Say, well, actually, I heard an exercise today. It was like, imagine you've got a beautiful rose in your hand. Okay, you've got a beautiful rose. And you are smelling the rose. You can actually smell the fragrance, can't you? In your mind. So this isn't just about being able to see it. I realized that with the imagination, you can even smell. I mean, how cool is that, right? And once you start realizing that the power of the imagination is literally unlimited, because the imagination is just our human experience of the universe, okay? The imagination is the universe. We know the universe is unlimited, so we know our imagination is unlimited. And that's when it starts getting really fun and you're getting excited. So the key is not just to do the definite purpose, but to have the emotion and the excitement and the happiness and the energy of the joy that it is done. We've already created it and it's coming. It might be sooner or later than we had predicted, but it's coming. I heard a great metaphor, I remember reading it years ago. It's a bit like if you go into a restaurant and you order a meal, right? So if you looked at the menu, you've ordered whatever you want off the menu, the waiter's taken the order and you go into the kitchen. You're not going to go into the kitchen every 5 minutes to saying, have you done it yet? Have you done it yet? You know, we know it's coming. We know our meal is coming. We know what it is because we've ordered it. We know what the starter, the main course is, the wine, whatever it is we've ordered. We know it's coming. We don't sit there, you know, twitching and twiddling our thumbs and getting all anxious and everything about it not coming. We know it's coming. Okay? So always think of just having sent your order into the cosmic kitchen and it's on its way, and get excited about it happening. And you set something in motion that is literally unstoppable. The only thing is you must never doubt that it's on its way. So thank you so much for that, Kelly. It's just brilliant. So who was it? Sue, I think you wanted to say something. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, I did, Bridget. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Yeah, I was just going to say about the reviewing the day. Obviously, I haven't been on many of these calls. I think it was last week was the first one I've come on, but I have done some of your personal development, you know, things before. But the reviewing the day, I did it that night after we came off the call, got into bed, and I thought, now, what have I done today? Who have I spoken to? How have I spoken to them? More to the point.
Right.
Because I'm going through quite a lot of challenges at home, as you know, Bridget,
Yes.
but generally as well, I thought, now, I could have done that differently. I could have said that differently. I could have been a bit more patient when I say things. I tend to jump in quick, you know, all these sort of things. And
Yeah.
I find the next day, it's made me sort of think about how I tackle sort of things. It might not be exactly the same thing the next day.
Sure.
But something goes off in my head thinking, oh, you thought about that last night, Sue, to do it differently. And it was just this sort of combination of things, you know, over the period of the week. I've done it every night. And each day I thought, as something perhaps came up the same the next day, I thought, no, I didn't. I did it that yesterday. I won't say that, or I won't do that. And I've adjusted it. And it's felt sort of, for want of a better word, calmer.
Yeah.
More sort of peaceful.
Yeah. Give you more confidence, more clarity, a little bit more certainty.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just, I think, more relaxed as well.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because
you dive into something, or you don't really think first, or not necessarily think, but you speak first. And then afterwards, said that.
we're all good at that. So speaking first and thinking later.
Yeah, so that's all I wanted to comment on.
I love it. Oh my God, this revision thing is insane. I've just been reading more and more stories about, different types of incidences where people have done this revision, revised the end, imagined a different outcome, and then literally, within a day, well, like Sue was saying, or even, a couple of days, the outcomes of the future of the work that we're doing that day completely change.
And you do get the cumulative effect as the days go on.
Of course. But the interesting thing is that most of us notice a difference literally from the first day.
Yes.
So it seems to have an accelerating effect. It seems to accelerate the actual process. And I was like, God, why didn't I know this 10 years ago, right? Or even when I was 6. But very, very, very interesting. I went back to the childhood one, and I did this. I don't know if Stacey's here tonight, no, but we did this. Stacey's my PA. She comes on the calls, and so yesterday we did we spent the morning doing admin, not really, and talking about this stuff. So I said, I tell you what, I'm going to write my own bio. My name is Bridget Jane Long. I'm 6 years old. Right? And then I wrote, my parents are the coolest people I could possibly wish for. And then I wrote the absolute ideal of my mum and my dad and how they support and encourage and love me and everything. And I was just writing it in my head, but saying it out loud when I was doing this work with Stacey. Well, we were a fits, absolutely, because like the stuff that we just hated as kids, we completely rewrote all that stuff, and it was such a powerful exercise. So do it with a friend, say, okay, I'm going to go back and I'm 6 years old and I'm going to describe my mum and dad, right? Exactly how you might not need to do this, but for me, it was a really, really, really powerful and fun thing to do, because we really, really laughed about the way that, and then the ideas started to unfold again and again and again of different things. Then it just got crazy. But definitely keep going with reviewing the day, and it really is. It's very, very. It's an accelerator, and obviously very powerful. Thank you, Sue. Well, we will be looking forward to hearing the next episode of your reviewing. It's amazing. Anyone else like to share? Annette, and then Tasmin. Yeah.
Unmute myself. Yeah. So it's on a similar vein, really. In terms of the review and revision, for a long time now, I've done the Darren Hardy thing about setting the intention for the day and then looking back. But this has added another dimension to it in terms of, how I feel about that. So it's very similar to Sue. And it also links very much into something I was doing in another course I was doing about getting rid of Little Miss Perfect. Because I overthink things, as many of you know, and actually, we're not perfect, and we say stuff sometimes and we think, oh my God, but actually it's a great way to forget. I almost feel as if I'm forgiving myself, for what I've said.
Yes.
Which is part of what it is. And I've also, although it's going to take a few more, my brother and I have hardly spoken since my mother died. And so I'm doing a whole thing about how I could have handled that differently, but that's going to take a bit more work, I think.
I think that this is a wonderful example, because this isn't just about our business and finances. This is about our relationships with people who we love and care about. Okay. So again, it is very much like going into a conversation with that person who you want to maybe heal the relationship with them, and having that conversation in your imagination of exactly how you would have liked, how you wanted it to go. So it isn't a thinking process, it is a being in the situation process. And that is a different way, because we're not trying to intellectualize the situation and saying I could have handled this better. It is going back to say what happened did not exist, and this is now what exists, and I'm replacing a new experience with what I thought existed, but now it's this that exists. So just going into that, a wonderful, uplifting, fun, loving conversation with whoever we want to improve our relationship with.
Yeah.
And it truly is, you know, something that works. Again, rapidly, we immediately start to feel better about the situation. And when we take things a step further, because we know that we are all one universal mind, that person will pick up on it. That, and the next thing you know, you'll have a sign of life.
Yeah. I absolutely do believe that.
In the video that I posted, I think he posted a couple of times with Neville Goddard, he talks at the end of the video about a woman who was estranged from her daughter-in-law and her grandchildren, and she really, really wanted to reconnect with them. So for 7 nights, she went to bed and imagined that she was reading a letter from her daughter-in-law and from her grandchildren, saying how much they missed her, how they wanted her to be part of their lives, and that when could she come and see them. And after 7 days, she received 2 letters almost identical to the ones that she had read in her mind for 7 nights from her daughter-in-law and her grandchildren. So this is, you know, something that it can work in our favor, or obviously it can, if we have imaginings about things that aren't favorable, it will work in exactly the same way. So if you have a relationship that you would like to repair with someone, go through this process of how you would be an ideal situation of how they would, you know, is it a phone call, is it a text, is it a written letter or a card, whatever it might be, and just go over it again and again in your mind every night and make it real, and revise the whole thing in that way. And you know, that this is just one example, there are tens of thousands of examples of similar instances, but this one I found was very impactful. Maybe it's because it's family or something, but yeah, so keep doing it, Annette, because we will hear the positive outcome, and it will come.
Yes, it will. I know it will. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Tasman.
Good evening, everybody. So, yeah, Bridget and me were speaking just before this call, and I am in the same business as Bridget, and I am definitely one for kind of like putting everything and everybody first rather than myself. And, you know, I particularly know in the industry that I work in that you physically cannot go anywhere if you don't work on yourself and your mindset. So things have been really, really busy. I've got a toddler that's 2 next month. So again, you know, that she's pushing boundaries and things like that, and I'm just getting so worked up over the littlest things. And I know because I'm not taking time for myself to just breathe, take a minute, and to do my mindset. So I had a call with Bridget last week, and you know, she kind of gave me some ideas and some things to do. So it was literally starting from 100, counting down, and then just taking a deep breath. And exactly the same as Kelly, like I would, you know, have my DPS in my book, but I wouldn't necessarily feel connected to my DPS as I read it. So again, my alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and I get up, and the first, you know, 20 minutes I sit there, I've got a piece of music I absolutely love that I listen to, that's just like a backing noise, and I can physically feel so much more connected to my DPS. And you know, I know over the last 2 weeks my business has been really slow. People are really depressed, they're kind of worried about their businesses being slow, not selling any products and stuff like that. And I find that people are feeding off my energy because I'm not giving off that positive vibration. So literally within the first like beginning of the week, I've woke up every day at 5 a.m. because I'm an early bird. I like to get up early and be productive before my daughter wakes up. And honestly, I just feel like I can honestly accomplish so much now. Like, I feel so much more energized. I'm so much more patient with Zara. And honestly, the girls this week, it's a completely different attitude within the team. And I think it is because people that look up to you, people that you work with, like I look up to Bridget all the time. And Bridget is just so energized all the time. She always has a positive solution of anything that I come back with. And, you know, I like that. I like that positivity. So our teams are relying on us to be that person like Bridget is for us. So, yeah, I'm just, you know, so grateful that Bridget's taught me the morning and the evening analogy of just going to bed 15 minutes before you go to bed, really connect with what it is that you're, you know, driving for, whether it be on your goal board. And yeah, it's definitely really helped.
Thank you, Tasmin. Well, you know, I only share with you what you already know. I'm a reminder. I'm the squeaky door. You know, the first thing, if people, you know, if people come to me and they have a challenge, whatever type of life, I said the first thing is, you know, well, tell me what you're doing for the first hour when you get up in the morning. You know, that will give me 98% of the answers. Well, go to the loo, pick up my phone, answer a few messages, you know, make the school lunches. That's probably why then. You know, it's not rocket science, this, guys. However, it does require disciplined, repeated practice. And so I came across something this week which is very interesting, which gives a scientific explanation of why the morning and evening is so critical. Okay, so some of you I'm sure already know this, but what's interesting is that our brain functions at 4 different levels: beta, alpha, theta, and delta. Okay, so the beta level is when we are in our active working day, and it's basically, it goes right, non-stop. Okay, our brain is very, very active. We are constantly thinking. You know, this is not a scoop. We are thinking all the time. Okay, sometimes we're aware of it's really loud, the voice in the head, and sometimes it's not so loud if we're very focused on something. But no matter what, we are permanently thinking. And in order to create that permanent chain of thought, the brain needs to work at what is called the beta level, which I believe is about, I know, 14 to 21 beats a minute. Anyway, it's fast. Okay. So at that level, our subconscious mind doesn't have a chance to take in anything new. The only action that subconscious mind at that point is the automatic processes it uses to make our heart beat and our blood circulate, or if we cut ourselves, to heal the wound, okay? Because the subconscious mind works automatically on that level, but we can also direct it consciously, all right? But when we are permanently thinking and our thoughts are continually crowded by it, and our brains are continually crowded by thoughts, the subconscious mind doesn't get a chance, like a huge barrier. Okay. The next level, however, is called alpha. And the alpha level is when the brain waves, you start to just calm down a little bit. It might be when, like Tasmin was saying, listening to relaxing music, or, you know, you're just feeling a bit, like Sue was saying about, okay, so now I'm dealing with things during the day and I'm actually feeling a little bit calmer. So she's probably between beta and alpha, okay? And then there's another level called theta. And theta is slower again, and that is the state that we get into just before we sleep and just as we wake, when the brain is still very slowly beating, okay? 90% of people live their entire lives out of the beta state. The 10% of people who live predominantly out of the alpha and theta state, even when they are in action, are the top 10% performers in the world. So it might be interesting to know a little bit more about that, if we aspire to be amongst the top 10% of whatever our chosen field is. Do you agree? Okay. So again, this is repeated, disciplined practice. The first thing that happens is the morning and evening routine. Now, I'm going to put my hands up and say my evening routine still needs a lot of fine-tuning. I am super disciplined, in the morning. I would say 29 days out of 30, I never miss. Okay, unless I have a really, really early morning, and then I'll still do a tiny little bit, even if it's 5-10 minutes, right? So this disciplined repeated practice will enable us to access the alpha and theta state more and more often during the day. Why is it essential that we do that? Because when we're in that more relaxed, or the alpha and theta state, we can see our definite purpose, what we wish to achieve in life, much more clearly, and we communicate more powerfully with the subconscious mind, because there isn't all that hugely disturbing. Think of it like radio static. Okay, it's like the whole time we go around listening to messages, but we are covered in radio static, and that radio static is all that mental chatter, and for the most part it's negative. So as civilized conscious human beings, it's in our interest to learn a bit more about this. Which brings us right back to the beginning of really these modules, was being self-aware. So what it basically comes down to, whether we're always putting other people first, or we're always criticizing other people or ourselves, or we are feeling guilty about something, it comes down to one thing: I am not good enough. It is the common denominator across the entirety of humanity. I am not good enough. And then we can add on, I don't do enough. Oh, I haven't done enough today, I haven't done enough. Okay. And then we could add on a little sidekick, which is, I don't deserve this. All right. That's what all this is. All this symptomatic, constant brain chatter, putting other people first, criticizing other people, whether it be in our thoughts or in our words, because our words are just our thoughts vocalized. All it comes down to is at some level we feel we're not good enough. Okay. The good news is that we're all in the same boat at some level. And this is a lifelong work. It's not something you do once and then you're done. It's something that we do until we die, something we have to work on. Now, in the beginning, when we start this, we have a road and it's full of boulders. Oh, another obstacle. Oh, another obstacle. And it feels huge trying to get that boulder out of the way, right? But the more we get into it, those boulders kind of become a bit like gravel. So it's a bit easier to get them out of the way. Okay. And then occasionally, boom, there'll be another boulder come in. It's like, oh, I thought I dealt with that one. No, there you are. It's another boulder come on the way. Well, what that really is, it's just an opportunity for us to see, now the same boulder that's come back, how can I approach it differently to see if I've really learned the lesson? Okay. And every single time it comes back to that common denominator, the bedrock of everything, I'm really not good enough. And that manifests in multiple different ways, based on really the big four. We've spoken about it before: guilt, criticism, resentment, and fear. Okay. So one of the main things we need to think about is being a conscious examiner of our thoughts throughout the day. There are some questions you could ask yourself when you catch yourself saying something which is not helpful. What am I thinking? Would I like this thought to create my life? Because we know that as our thoughts go out into the ether or the universe, they are accepted by us and brought back as our physical experiences. So once again, cause and effect. Well, our thoughts and our words go out, they create experience, and they come back at us as a mirror. Okay. Some of it's fantastic and wonderful and gorgeous and positive, and other things, it's not at all. But we know that everything that we have in our exterior world is created by imagination, our thoughts, and our words. So it's very liberating because it makes us feel that, wow, so I'm responsible for everything? Yeah, you are. But that's really liberating because we have, as intelligent, conscious human beings, the power to choose what we think. And in fact, whatever the situation throws at us, good, bad, or ugly, or indifferent, we can say, I chose this. Because we did. Because we chose the thought that corresponded to what happened as our experience or our condition. It can be with relationships, it can be our health, it can be our finances, health, wealth, and happiness, right? So as I say, it is very liberating, but we need to know what to do with it. We need to know how to fix it. And this is where the daily practices come in. You know, I've spoken about this again and again, but I think this is kind of like the last time we're going to go through it. It's worth going back over it a little bit again. You know, we've come a long way. We've talked about the practices and so on and so forth. So going down into that alpha and that theta state enables us to access a part of the brain that 90% of people never use. It's the right side of the brain. That's where we get our ideas. It's where we get our creativity. It's where we get our joy. It's where we get our inspiration. But we are so consumed by our left brain, which is the think, I've got to think about it, got to think about it, got to think about it. And that cuts off all the use of our right brain. We hear experts say we only use maybe 5% of our brain capacity. And then some, okay? Maybe 10% for the geniuses, right? But we still have all this untapped power within us. And we can start accessing this by understanding the scientific process of what it means and why we need to do what we do in the morning and the evening. Because when we know why we're doing it and we know why it works, it's easier to do it, isn't it? It's easier to believe it. Because this isn't about belief. This is about fact. This is about scientific proof. You know, if people like, you know, wired up to all these head things and they can actually scientifically prove that when we're in a relaxed state, we go into these different levels of brain waves. And then we've been able to associate that with being able to access the right side of our brain, and then ultimately becoming more creative. We have amazing ideas. We start building courage. We start attracting different levels of people. I mean, it's just so powerful. And then little by little, as we start these morning and evening disciplines, we start being able to access this level of alpha and theta all day. All day. And what that means, again, like Sue was saying, feeling calmer, feeling more relaxed, feeling more confident, feeling you always know what to say, feeling you always, you know, if you have a challenge thrown you, how you're going to react. Because ultimately, this is what life is about. It's not about what life throws at you. It's about our attitude towards whatever happens, what life throws at us, right? And if no matter what happens, we can react with calm and confidence and absolute clarity and self-assurance and feeling that we're always good enough at no matter what life throws at us. Because life is life and we're gonna get challenges. They're not going to go away. It's all about how we handle them. And by accessing this calmer state, I said last week, poise is power. By accessing this poise, this absolute poise, and you know, having this centered, present feeling within inside us, we suddenly become powerful, unstoppable, unlimited human beings. Okay, still making sense? So it is worth taking this seriously. I'm sure I don't need to say that. That's probably, but this is worth taking really seriously and doing it, you know, as seriously as you would telling your children you love them or brushing your teeth. Okay? In fact, it's even probably more serious, because the more you love yourself, the more your children will love themselves. And once we love ourselves, we don't hurt ourselves. And once we don't hurt ourselves, we don't hurt anyone else. And that's how you get peace in the world. Okay? If everybody truly, genuinely could look in the mirror in the morning and say, I love you. I really, really love you. And then your name. without feeling churned up or criticizing yourself, we would have peace in the world. It's as simple as that. The only reason we hurt other people is because we're hurting ourselves, because we don't love ourselves. So our job, while we're here for this tiny little speck of time on this planet, is to really to learn how to love ourselves and approve of ourselves unconditionally. Okay? And we can do that by lots of different ways. Affirmations, mirror work, and this morning and evening, going into, that moment of calm, and by having deep gratitude. Deep gratitude. The universe loves gratitude. It's the, how do you say it in English? The kind of like the conductor between, the universe and creation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The universe loves gratitude. Because gratitude is love. And the universe is love. And so when you feel love and gratitude, then you're just connecting yourself with infinite intelligence, the infinite creation. And how do we always feel love and gratitude? By loving ourselves. Okay. Another question we could ask ourselves when we catch ourselves saying something that ain't so friendly: would I like to have the experience that this thought could bring to me? Would I like to have the experience that this thought could bring to me? Or would I like to have the experience this thought is now bringing to me? Do I really want the experience that this thought is now bringing to me? Probably not. Okay. And then we can change it, because we're intelligent, conscious human beings. We have the ability to change our thoughts and to choose what we think. First, we have to be aware of them, ask ourselves those meaningful questions, and then change them. Actually, do you know what? I am good enough. I have got this. It's a challenge, but I can handle it. I can handle it. I'm always going to be good enough. Okay? If you love people and want to teach them that they are always good enough, they will literally blossom in front of you. Don't be afraid to love people or to say, I love you. Don't be afraid to say thank you 3 times instead of once. You find when you shower love on people, you love yourself even more as well. Sometimes we hold back, don't we? What are they going to think if I show them too much love? Don't be afraid. That's what everybody wants. It might make them feel initially a bit comfortable, and then they'll be like, I'll be walking a bit straighter for the rest of the day. Okay? Never be afraid to shower love and gratitude on people. And the more you give, guess what? The more you get back. Yeah. So we can use affirmations. We can use revision. We can refine our morning and evening work. And I have a couple of tips here that you might like. So as we go into our morning and evening practices, the first thing is, we've spoken about this already, it's to really see, feel, hear the end result of what we wish to achieve as if it was already fulfilled. Okay, it's not about wanting. It's about being in the full consciousness of having already received it and being in it. Example, you want a new home. Go into the silence, go into your relaxation, and see yourself going into the home. You're opening each door, you're going, looking, you can see the kitchen, the garden, you're in it, you're in it, you're in it. It's not thinking about something, it's thinking from something. Okay, very, very different. Always thinking from something, from the living the existence in your mind about what you really, really want. Just choose one thing. If you don't know really, if you're not sure about what you want at this moment today, just choose somebody you'd like to help. Okay? It will get the creative juices going, and it will help you find your real purpose in life. Just choose somebody, one person you'd like to help. And in that morning and evening work, go in and have that conversation with that person that you'd like to help and see them as a beautiful, perfect, whole, happy, prosperous, successful human being. Do it for someone else. Okay? So when you look on them in your imagination, they are everything you know they would love to be. All right? That's if you're a little bit lost about knowing what your definite purpose is right now at this time. And then also what's really useful that I have been doing, but I didn't realize that it was going to get recommended by someone else, is before you go into that, just pick up any book, one that you're reading at the moment, and just randomly open it at a page and read a couple of paragraphs. So it will uplift you and make you feel joyful before you go into your meditation and visualization. Because the key is to go into it with joy in your heart, with love, and to look forward to it, right? It's like, oh my God, it's amazing. It shouldn't be a chore. This has got to be something you really, really, really look forward to. Something that you can't wait. Another thing you can do is in your planner, write it down every single day when you've done it. Just write it down, 15 minutes personal development, 15 minutes meditation, 15 minutes visualization. Write down every single day. It will give you the feeling that you're progressing. All right? And again, anything that's going to really uplift you and make you feel great. And also, don't forget, these are things that you can pass on to other people. Say, well, look, this is what I did for 2 weeks. I wrote down in my planner, done. I felt so cool after 2 weeks. And actually, boom, look what happened. Okay? Man cannot live by bread alone. This is our soul bread. Okay? Feed your soul every day. Feed your soul, your being, your inner self every day. Okay? As you do this, it will help you build your confidence as well, especially as you're doing the tracking, right? Can you hear me? My internet seems a bit unstable. Okay, so this practice is going by repetition. If you want to help somebody, hold them in your mind for a minimum of 2 minutes and just see them as that perfect, happy, loved, prosperous, healthy, wonderful human being. You will become a miracle maker, a miracle worker. It doesn't matter whether they live with you or they're 1,000 miles away. Okay? Just think of that one person and see them as being perfect. Have a love affair with your definite purpose. I think we've spoken about this before, haven't we? When we fall in love for the first time, or, we fall in love full stop, and, we're so happy and we can't sleep and we're up all night like texting or whatever it might be. And we're up all night, perhaps not texting, but then we take a walk in the beach in the morning, it's 5 a.m, you're still not tired. Everybody remember that? It's all happened to them at least once, right? Okay. Everybody remembers that feeling, the first love. Feel like that about your practice and what you're creating in your life. Connect to that feeling of infinite joy and love. Okay. And it will really excite you to go and do that practice in the morning. So I think we really have covered this subject really well now. I hope you feel that you've got, the tools that will really help you move forward. And so that's the morning and evening. I just want to see if I have anything that I want to say about the stuff that's happening during the day. I'm hugely inspired by Louise Hay's work. So if you want to go into this more deeply, You Can Heal Your Life is one of the backbones of, the work that I've done. Just recently, as you know, discovered Neville Goddard, and he's just been, I've just literally had it, on repeat for the last sort of 10 days with his stuff. And, there are many, many other things. Be a hungry student, study every day, make this part of your life, teach it to your loved ones, whether it be children, nieces, nephews, parents, doesn't matter. Do the work and and share it. Don't expect them necessarily to understand it, but you know. And if you can't really share it, then live it. And they will automatically start to see the difference in you. Okay. So I spoke about ordering from the restaurant, from the menu. Don't be impatient for you to get served your meal. All right. Be patient, work on yourself every day. You can imagine it as well a little way like sowing seeds. Okay. So some people will say, oh, affirmations don't work. Affirmations don't work. Okay, well, so how many prosperity affirmations? So I'll say to someone, how many prosperity affirmations do you do a day? Well, 3. Okay. How many poverty affirmations do you do a day? Well, 300. Okay. Can't afford it. Too expensive. Not made of money. Money doesn't grow on trees. Blah, 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 blah. I am wealthy. No, you're not. You've just neutralized the whole thing very proficiently. All right, whatever that might be. Be the guardian of your thoughts. Okay, they are the creators of your world. Creators of your world. I've talked about gratitude. And when you sow the seeds, plant lots of them. Plant lots of seeds. And don't go into the seeds 3 days later and dig them up and see if they're growing. Right? They're growing. Like the order from the restaurant, just let it time to develop and grow. Keep sowing the seeds, sowing the seeds, and sowing the seeds. Okay? Be the master gardener of your mind. All right. I think I've covered it for this evening. A bit shorter than normal, but probably that's not a bad thing. These are just really some points that I wanted to bring with you today, and you know, for you to use them, as I say, as a springboard to go and, you know, deepen your work, find the joy in it, you know, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. It's nothing to do with being vain or opinionated. It's to do with self-respect. The word respect is an interesting origin, just remember this. So the word spect means to look. And the word re means back. So it means to look back at yourself. That's what respect means. Okay. So this is painfully sweet work, and it is worth it. It's going to bring things up that you might not like, but it's a sweetness and it's meaningful, it works, and it is easily as important as having a good diet or, you know, anything else really. Doing a good job or doing a good meeting or whatever it is. In fact, it's 20 times more important. This is the baseline for everything, okay? So I think that's it. Do we have any questions? Would anyone like to make any more comments or observations? Next week, we're going to go into the practical step-by-step of the mastermind of what you can do then to take this to the next level. Nope, that's it. Kathy.
So I did want to say very guiltily, I have actually got into kitchens several times and asked where my meal is.
Okay, so first of all, please don't feel guilty about that, because that's one of the big 4 and we don't feel guilty about anything now, right?
No, but it just shows you really how I've had to learn to really pull back and really appreciate that if you do ask something, it's coming. You can't.
Yes.
But yeah, been in several times.
I saw you smiling when I was saying this, and I was just like, either this is a breakthrough or she's had a similar experience.
Oh, my children just, here she goes again. Right.
So impatience is fear. Impatience is fear. I remember saying to one of my business mentors years ago. I said, oh, it's not just not going fast enough. And she said, impatience is fear. I was like, okay, you're right. So when we feel impatient, when we feel frustrated, when we feel anxious, just know that it is being afraid of something. I'm afraid, okay? Poise is power. We can be poised in the face of adversity. We can be poised in the face of waiting for the seeds to grow, waiting for the meal to come out, right? Educating our expectations to wait patiently with poise, and not just patiently, but wait with joy in the knowing that it is coming. We all know that we're going to take our next breath, don't we? Oh, we all kind of take that for granted, right? We don't have to think, I'm going to read that. We kind of take it for granted that we're surrounded by air and that we're going to breathe our next breath, okay? That's how confident you have to be that whatever is your burning desire, it is coming, and I am as confident as I am about taking my next breath. Okay. And that requires disciplined daily practice. Okay, guys, well, oh, have I lost everyone? No. Oh, I lost everyone then for a moment. Did you lose me? No? Okay, amazing. Right, well, thank you, everybody. Again, I wish you all a fantastic end of evening or end of day for our friends in America. And we'll see you all next week at the same time. Thank you so much. I'm so blessed. I love you all dearly, and I'm so grateful and appreciative to have had this experience with you. And yeah, we'll have a wonderful week. And yeah, I want some how I learned to love myself stories next week, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget.
Lots of love in the meantime.
Amazing.
Bye now.
Bye.
Good night.